I've been asked a lot what I think the future of SEO is.
Doc, I'm from the future.
I've linked some quotes to blogs and I get asked that all the time. And I'm not a smart person and I don't always know. So I asked my buddy Bill King, who runs SEO and paid acquisition over at Drift, what he thought. Check out a quick clip of our conversation. It's a longer form conversation. There's a link to every single piece of this conversation in the description below. But check out this quick clip. Like, we're not two gurus. We're just people in the trenches telling you what we see now in SEO and what we think could be happening in the future and how to be, this is most important, how to be prepared for that future. Let's check that out. You kind of touched on this briefly, but I think it's super fascinating. I love your take on it. Future of SEO, like, not asking you to like look into the crystal ball, but like, I've heard you talk a lot about like SEO is changing in terms of platforms, right? Like Amazon is SEO, podcasting is SEO, like things beyond Google. Tell me more about that, but then also tell me, like, where do you see, there's statistics that are getting thrown around a lot about how many clicks or no click searches and all of that different stuff. Like, what do you see for the future of SEO?
Well, I think that the standard, like kind of like what Drift's trying to do, they're trying to remove friction from buying. I think that every platform knows that if they don't remove friction to the user, somebody else will, right? So Google's motivation is to be the place to go for information. They are not designed to be a search engine. That's just the mechanism that they have right now to deliver that information. I remember hearing something about like technology, and somebody made a joke about someday we're going to laugh at using these meat sticks to type something into the computer. And I was like, wow, what an interesting perspective on that. And I think you need to stay open-minded. You need to stay focused on what works today, but do not lose sight of like where trends are going. And I think in SEO, sometimes that is the louder voice. Like, you hear people all the time talking about what's next, but I think like if you have a certain level of expertise on how to execute today, you have more time to think about what's tomorrow, right? And I just think keeping in mind that in this short period of time, the amount of attention that has been fragmented from when I worked at a record store in Rhode Island selling tickets and CDs to today, and like how fragmented and how many options there are and how many different ways we choose to consume information and content. Just having that context, like, you need to just understand how people behave, what they want. Like 6 months ago, didn't everybody hate Facebook? Well, it's still around because it's convenient. And this whole push against data security, which is very, very important, don't get me wrong, but like convenience will almost always outweigh the other stuff that we hear about in the news all the time. It's click worthy because it's fear, and people are afraid of those coming trends. But people were afraid of the internet 10 years ago, and now the whole world's economy revolves around it. So I think like just understanding those things, and like, don't wait until it's already the new thing. I think you have to understand that value comes at the early fringes, right? Like, I remember Gary Vaynerchuk like built his career as wine, like library business off like 2 cents per click Google ads.
I've got 4 key takeaways from this video. Number 1, you can't punt experience now in the hopes that you'll guess right and you'll be ready for the future. Thinking about the future does not give you permission to ignore what works today. Number 2, I was way too excited for that, sorry. Convenience and removing friction is the name of the game, right? Google is looking to do that. They will only continue sending people out to other websites so long as that is still the best thing for Google. Look, TikTok is growing for a lot of reasons. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on it, but I know one of the reasons they are growing is that they remove the friction of sharing stuff from the platform, right? It's very easy to download your TikToks, share them on Twitter, on Instagram, in Instagram Native, and in your stories, everywhere else on Facebook if people are doing that. Like, wherever your audience is right now, you can share your TikToks, and a lot of platforms make it really hard to share your stuff. They're trying to keep you on the platform. TikTok realized they could drive people to the platform by allowing them to share TikToks elsewhere. So instead of complaining about how other platforms couldn't share things, instead of complaining about Google, right, let's look at how they're removing friction and adapt around it. Number 3, understanding what people want, how they behave, human psychology is more important than ever. If you're watching what people are doing, Gary Vaynerchuk jokes all the time that he watches what teenagers are looking at on their phone, right? They want to see how they interact and what they're on and different things. When I was a high school teacher, I asked my students all the time what social media platforms they were using. Do they Google stuff? Like, where do they go for information? All that sort of thing. I want to see how trends are changing. You have to understand, read Influence by Robert Cialdini, right? All of that information is out there for you, but understanding human psychology is key, especially because number 4, most of the value is in the early stages of something. The people who built the first big Facebook pages, the first big Instagram accounts, TikTok, you're seeing it right now. The same was true for SEO and Google Ads. The things that got authority initially and were able to keep up with things, like all that value is riding that first wave. It's still possible to grow on all those platforms, still possible to grow in SEO, but getting in early and understanding what's happening early is the way to go. We see that all the time at Directive, right? Where we work with software companies, and we're starting to see that it's harder and harder to drive traffic right to them because companies like Capterra and Software Advice and G2, all of these other aggregator websites, these review websites rank for like best whatever software. So let's play within those platforms, right? Let's do the search monopoly tactic. I'll link that video in the description, how to execute a search monopoly, where you don't just rank number 1, you rank number 2, 3, and 4, because you're ranking within those platforms. Seeing where the game is going is really the key. So what's the future of SEO? Like, I don't really know. I just want to give you the tactics to keep up with it, right? And I know that I have a community of people around me that are keeping up with it with me. If you want to follow me, you want to follow Bill, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Make sure to check out the One Ranking Away Challenge at 100daysofseo.com/challenge. You can check out a few different playlists in the description below, a playlist of the rest of my interview with Bill, a playlist about SEO, growing your marketing career, all sorts of different value there in the description. If you're creating videos like me, make sure you check out podreacher.com. Jackie and her team at Podreachers, who helped me take all of my videos, all my podcasts, everything, turn it into actionable written content that ranks well, helps convert people. Check them out at podreacher.com. And let me know in the comments below, like, what do you think the future of SEO is? What do you think is going to be the future of all of this? Is it going to be all no-click searches? Is Google going to pull back? Are people going to go to another search engine because Google's experience is just, they're the incumbent and it's just not great anymore? Let me know in the description below. I've been Brendan Hufford. Don't forget to work hard, be nice people, and don't get too lost trying to create something that matters.